Hello, hello, my loves. Welcome back to the Unstoppable You podcast with Evelyn Kelly. I'm your host, Evie, life and confidence coach and business mentor. And we're back with another juicy episode. Thanks so much for being here. It's so wonderful. It's so wonderful to have you here. And I have an episode all about what it actually means to have a soul-led business. Like, what do we actually mean by soul-led and soul-led business? I am really excited to speak to this topic, so we'll dive into that in just a moment. But first, I really wanted to share my quote for today, and then we'll dive in. So my quote is, "Your soul already knows the way. It's your job to trust it." Your soul already knows the way. It's your job to trust it. Love that one so much. Timely reminder. Noted. Maybe it's one for a post-it note for you if it resonates or lands with you. I'd love to share that with you and invite you to do so. So what do we actually mean? What do I actually mean about when I say soul-led business? Like, you guys would have heard me talk about this before. You guys would have heard this. Like, I use it all the time in my messaging, essentially. You would probably have seen it a lot online as well. I feel like it's one of those words that is thrown around a lot, like soul-led business, soul-led life, etc. So this is something that you'll probably have heard before and seen around a lot. And I feel like it's time to like really actually get down to the nitty-gritty and define that. But more so, not necessarily just define it, but actually like explore, what does that actually mean? What does that actually look like? What does that look like for you? And what does that mean for your business? I've got some really loving inquiries for you to consider at the end of the podcast episode today about how you can start to consider what we talked about today a bit further if you want to and feel called to, but also just to deepen into this topic, because I think it's such valuable work. And if this has sparked something for you, or you're nodding along like, yep, would love for you to consider and reflect, like, how are you living your life with soul? How are you leading with your soul? And especially in your business, how are you space holding? How are you coaching? How are you healing? How are you holding those beautiful spaces and containers and doing the beautiful work that you do, being of deep service? How are you running that with soul? Like, how are you leading with your soul? And if we look at your business through your space holding, your coaching through your business lens, how is that led by your soul? Is it led by your soul? How could we maybe fine tune that, tweak it, refine it, etc.? And I think that this is like invaluable work for you. It's certainly something that I have considered myself along the way many times, and also more recently as I'm diving into more sacred leadership work and exploring and learning and deep diving and doing all the inner work as I go, which has just been so wonderful. More on that to come. But this has certainly been one of those things of like checking in and making sure that we are actually not just saying that we have a soul-led business, actually having a soul-led business, actually leading with soul. So I'm excited for today's episode. Firstly, I just want to really speak to a bit about, like, what do we actually mean by soul-led? What is a soul-led business, etc. And then also debunk what it's not. So obviously sometimes it can be easier to grasp at what something isn't versus what something is. And then also would love to speak to a little bit about like why this actually matters. Like, why am I talking about this? And then, like I shared earlier, I've got some loving inquiries, some loving questions for you to take away and maybe journal on. These would be great journal prompts, or go for a nature walk or dog walk, whatever. And solo car trip, love those kind of times to decompress and really to consider some of these ideas. But yeah, really consider these for yourself. Okay, so what does this actually look like, and why does this actually matter? So essentially, what we mean by soul-led business, or creating a soul-led business, having a soul-led business, leading with soul, means that your soul essence, your soul gifts are the center, are the core of what it is that you do, of your space holding, of your coaching, of your energy healing, of the beautiful containers and the ways that you serve, they're the core of that. And they inform almost everything in your business. That we make decisions from soul, from intuition, from inner knowing, and that we lead from that place. Yeah? So it's really about connecting to you. It's really about being your most authentic self and expressing your truth, expressing your soul gifts and your soul essence. And that being the core, the foundation of your business, that's central to what it is that you do. Your soul gifts are, and your soul essence, you are the offering. You are the business, which we'll explore a bit further later. And that we lead from that place. We don't lead from external validation, from the outside world, from the loud, noisy chitter-chatter online, or doing things because from a place of should or shouldn't, or a place of conditioning, or a place of my business coach told me to do this, so I need to do this, and ignoring our own inner truth and wisdom. So it's really about coming back into and connecting with you, your most authentic self, your soul essence, your soul gifts, and your intuition being one of the key ways in which you lead with soul, in which you create a soul-led business. So this is where spending time connecting in with your true self, connecting in meditation, yoga, breath work, alone time, reducing outside noise and outside input and stimulus from time to time can be so helpful, or often it can be so helpful because it allows you to quieten down that stuff, the noise, the outside chitter chatter, the external validation, the shoulds and the shouldn'ts, the what everyone else is doing, and actually allows you to drop in and listen to your own inner wisdom and your own intuition. And that can kind of be easier said than done, right? And I know this from hand, being a busy mama, being pregnant, doing renovations, like running a really beautiful, successful business, all the things, right? Life's lifing. But it's so important to carve out that time to really connect inwards with your intuition, with your soul, and making sure you're showing up from that place, making sure you're leading from that place, making sure that you're checking in with your soul, with your intuition, and making sure that you're making decisions that are, are led by your intuition and guided by your head. Yeah. Like really, really, really trusting that you have the answers, that your soul always knows. And that far outweighs and trumps any strategy, any the three-step formula to success is, or, the things that you must do to create six figures in your business or else type of thing, or anything that someone says on Instagram or online about you having to look a certain way, doing business in a certain way, or your strategy or your marketing, or a specific type of offer that you have to have in your business in order to be successful. Like, that is total BS. It grinds my gears. And I put my hand up from time to time. I may have sprinkled in a few of those words as well, but I wholeheartedly believe that when you're listening to your soul, when you're tuning into your own intuition, and creating from that place, from leading from that place, serving from that place, you can never go astray. You really can't. It's going to feel so freaking good because it's authentic, it's aligned, it's your soul essence, it's you, it's your authenticity. But it also means that it's going to give you the greatest results, because you can't outsource that stuff. You can't outsource that stuff. And while strategies and marketing rules and trends and all of these things, can be useful, and absolutely learn some core foundations in business and marketing, but ultimately, like I said last week on the podcast, one of my biggest lessons is apply it to you. Like, let your intuition lead the way, let your soul lead the way, and just be guided slightly, like tweak and pivot and just refine slightly with your head. Yeah, don't let ego, don't let inner critic, and don't let, the external noise or someone else's truth or thoughts, etc., be the deciding factor, be the leading force. That is not soul-led business. That is not soul-led business. So a big part of this is also, so connecting in, obviously, as we've shared. But the other part of this is really trusting in your soul, trusting in your intuition and acting on it, and knowing, like deeply knowing that you, your soul essence, your soul gifts are enough, that they are so, so valuable, that your presence, your essence, who you are is enough. And that is such a magical gift to give to others. Like the true power of like true space holding is phenomenal. Like truly holding space and seeing someone and, you being in your most authentic essence and energy and presence is everything, your energy, your lived experiences, your own truth, all of that is so valuable. All of that is so enough. And a big part of this is trusting that. And I think one way which we can kind of deviate from soul-led is when we distrust that, or when we doubt ourselves, or when we let narratives or stories or conditioning say that that's not enough, and that the only way to success is this 3-step formula, or this thing that you've seen online, or this one way that a business coach is telling you to do. And I think that that's where we can learn, we can often learn, even sometimes unconsciously, that our inner knowing and our inner wisdom isn't enough, and that we don't actually know far greater or far more than any strategy or any other human for that matter. As well as, as good intentions as those other people may have, no one's going to trump your intuition. No one's going to trump your soul. And only you can know, only you can lead from that place. So learning and deepening and building layers of that trust is going to be so crucial and so important in creating and actually having and living and creating and leading a soul-led business. Is really, really coming back to trusting that your soul gifts, your presence, your energy, your lived experiences are enough. It means that to have a soul-led business, to lead with soul, means that we don't outsource our decisions. We don't outsource the strategy or the direction or, the next steps for us. That we tune into our heart, we tune into our intuition and our soul, and that guides us. Even and especially when it doesn't always make logical sense. And that's the work. That's the work, to trust that. Trust your soul even when it doesn't make sense. And I certainly have had moments and experiences of that along my journey in my life, along my journey in my business especially, where I've gone against the advice of a business coach or a strategist, or when it doesn't always make logical sense and I can't fully understand the depth of it logically, consciously right away, but I just know in my bones, I know in my soul, like I can feel it in my body that this is the right thing to do. And I have to trust that, and I have to act on that and go with it. And that takes courage. That takes courage and experience. But the more you do it, obviously, the more you listen in, the more you tune into your intuition and your soul, and the more that you live from that place and act from that place and create decisions from that place, then, the easier, so to speak, it gets. But it's still always a practice, because ego and inner critic, your mind, will often be the loudest, will often be the fastest, will often, be shouting at you. And it's your job to dial that down and tune into your intuition time and time and time again. Okay, the other thing I wanted to speak to here, and a big part of having a soul-led business, I believe, is being deeply committed to your own inner work, doing the self-work, doing the personal development, doing the healing, doing the growth work. And that's going to look different for all of us, but being committed to it, being committed to yourself and your own development, your own growth, your own evolution, your own healing is vital if you want to create a beautiful soul-led business. And I think, as I shared last week on the podcast, it's been one of my greatest lessons and true beliefs is doing the inner work as you do the outer work, and making sure that you're prioritizing your own growth as a human, and that success is so much more about like who you become as opposed to the strategy that gets you there. And so, no amount of strategy, no amount of marketing, no amount of, no strategy is ever going to trump that. And there's no bypassing that either. And that takes courage. That takes so much courage. That takes so much self-responsibility. That takes so much awareness and an openness and a willingness to go first, to do the inner work, to show up, to be vulnerable, to be courageous, and to answer some of the uncomfortable questions, to do the self-inquiry, to invest in spaces where you're growing as a human as well. This is a big part of why I'm doing a beautiful sacred leadership program at the moment as a participant, which is just the best. And it's because I am so committed to my growth. And I know that my success is only, will only go so far as my own personal growth, really. And I know that as I grow as a human, as I give back to me, my space holding abilities, my coaching, the offers, the containers, the experiences that I create are going to be so much richer, are going to be so much deeper and more expansive than I could ever have imagined. It's one of those things that it's the gift that keeps on giving. I always say this about coaching, especially doing the inner work, like life coaching work and anything around sacred leadership, if you're a coach as well, or a space holder of some sort with an online business. Like, it's the gift that keeps on giving. It's the thing that, like, one of these pieces of the puzzle, or doing some of this inner work, or this devotional practices and etc., whatever, like any one of these things, any number of these things is going to be the thing that will flow out to almost every area of your life, or it will flow out into your containers. It'll flow out into your clients. It'll flow out into your service, the work that you do in the world in such beautiful, beautiful ways that is almost hard to comprehend. Like, we just don't know until we know, right? It certainly is one of those things. Yeah. So really, I think to have a beautiful soul-led business and to be committed to your soul and to be leading from that beautiful place, you have to also be committed to doing the inner work, to creating space and time for you, for your own growth, for your own devotional practices, for connecting inwards, for all of the healing, etc., that's required to grow and up level and become who you're always meant to be, to become and step into your higher self. And that's just the best rewarding journey ever. So be committed to it. Be committed to it. And the other thing that I wanted to really speak to, and really stands out for me when I think about soul-led business, is that there is so much depth and meaning to your work. And I know this to be certainly true about me and my own business, is that I never came into business, I never became a coach to create six figures, to, all these metrics and I never came into this for the money. I never came into this to have this quote unquote successful business. While absolutely that was a desire and a goal of mine, it was never the driving force. It was never the leading factor. In fact, it's, I really feel strongly about this, that I do this work because I can't not do this work. I was talking about this with one of my beautiful long-term clients as well, who's also a beautiful space holder and coach and yoga teacher. And we were sharing about, like, actually at the end of the day, the numbers, the metrics, while it matters to some extent, absolutely, it's far greater than that. That we would do this, that we would always do this, that we can't not do this, that it would, she shared in her own words that it would hurt her heart if she didn't do this, if she ignored this calling and went down a different route. And so I certainly feel that to be true myself. And it's really about having a greater mission, about having a vision that's greater than just you, that's greater than yourself, that's about deep service, that's about positive impact, that's about connection and community and healing and transformation and all those beautiful things. It's about leading with passion and purpose. So it's about doing things with so much love and meaning and service at its core. And I think that that's what a soul-led business is all about. It has to be greater than just you, and it has to be greater than just the metrics or the numbers or the income or whatever, all of those sort of quote unquote success metrics. It's got to be greater than that. It's a calling. It's an act of service, and it's one of those things that you just can't not do. When you have the calling, when you have the intuitive nudge, it's in you to be expressed and to be delivered and to be shared and to teach and serve and heal and hold space in your beautiful ways. And it means something so much more than just you. It matters. It really matters. It deeply matters. And I think lastly, the thing that I wanted to also share here about a soul-led business is that your business, I kind of alluded to the fact earlier about this actually, but just similar concept in different words. Your business and your work is an extension of who you are. Now, this might be a little bit controversial because I think some people will say that your business isn't you and that you should have some separation between you and your business and those sorts of things for healthy boundaries, blah, blah, blah. Yes, to healthy physical and energetic boundaries, yes. But I think if you have a soul-led business, if you're a coach or a space holder or a healer, a service provider with doing really impactful, meaningful work that's led by soul, if it's led by your soul, if it's who you are, it's a part of you. It has to be a part of you, right? Yes, it's important to have some boundaries and some separation to some extent. And I certainly, when I'm talking about like online branding and personal branding, you want to be sharing your authenticity online. You want to be sharing parts of you. You want to be sharing, you want to be open and transparent and share behind the scenes and all of those sorts of things. Absolutely. However, there needs to be some kind of discernment there and some kind of boundary that you would set. And that's going to look different for everyone, but you certainly don't have to share all of you and all of your personal life online and through your business. Absolutely not. But your business will be an extension of you, I believe, if it's a soul-led business. If it's truly led by your soul, then we can't separate that. Your values as a person will most likely reflect as your values in your business as well. The way that you show up, your energy, your essence, your soul gifts, those are your business. That is your offering. That is, your greatest medicine. And so of course that is a part of you. So I think it's just embracing and owning the fact that your business is a part of you and is an extension of you. Yes, have those healthy boundaries and be really discerning about, what parts you want to share online and with your clients and all of those sorts of things. Remember that it has to come from soul. If it's truly soul-led, then it has to come from you and your intuition and your soul and your soul gifts. So that's a bit about soul-led business. I think I've gone over all of the key things that I really wanted to share there. So the next thing that I wanted to speak to is what does this actually look like in practice, in reality? What does it actually take to run a soul-led business? And so much of what I shared there, you'll see obviously that gives you a really good idea, but just to kind of elaborate on that, it really means to, make decisions, strategic decisions around your niche, your marketing, decisions around your messaging, decisions around your offering, and what you say yes or no to, opportunities, collaborations, etc. That needs to all be run through your own soul filter. That needs to be run through your intuition. And it's really about saying yes to those authentic and aligned opportunities and decisions, and saying no to the ones that aren't in alignment or aren't right for you for whatever reason, or your intuition saying no. And that's hard to do at times, right? But that is so important. That is so important. And remember, like I said earlier, it's also trusting your intuition with those decisions, even when it doesn't always make logical sense. Yeah, so that can be what it looks like. It's also about creating offers that really light up your soul. that really get you excited, that you're like, yes, this is it. Like, oh my goodness, I feel alive. I feel magnetic. I feel like I'm on purpose, that I'm really sharing my soul gifts here. So creating offers that really light you up, not just someone told me to have a mastermind, so I'm creating a mastermind, or not just someone told me not to do one-to-one coaching because that's not profitable. BS, by the way. And actually just aligning to what you want to do, what lights you up, what does your soul want to do, how does your soul essence, your soul gifts want to be shared with the world, and yeah, how do you want to serve through those? That also means authentic marketing and authentic business strategy. So yeah, there's some core things that work in business and marketing. Sure, I can teach you those. We can learn those. That's easy. But applying them to you, putting them through your authentic filter, like how do you want to show up? What lights you up? What's your truth? What's the message that you want to share here? How would you run a conversion event? Like, what's the most authentic way to do this, for example? So really thinking about business strategy, marketing, etc., that's led with authenticity and your truth, and not watering that down, and not just following a set strategy because someone's told you that this strategy is proven to work. It's really about tuning into what's right for you. This is also about leading and creating from a place of a regulated nervous system. When your cup is filled up, where you're also tending to your own inner growth, like I shared earlier, that's going to support you to hold more, to create more, to increase your capacity and your visibility, your leadership, like all of those wonderful things. And yeah, so doing that from a really regulated nervous system and being really committed to what also serves and nourishes you, knowing that you are the business, remember? And so yeah, as you give back to you, you give back to your business, you give back to your clients, you give back to your offers in all the ways. And this is so much about, in practical terms, this is so much about trusting, like I said, trusting your soul, but this also means trusting your own timeline. This also means trusting your own inner wisdom. This means trusting and creating your own version of success. This is about not comparing to other people or rushing or doing things because you think it's the right thing to do or someone told you that you should, and really about trusting in your own timing, in your own version of success, and creating a really beautiful sacred vision for yourself. And only you can do that. Only you can do that. And that has to come from within. So those are kind of like a few of the practical things, right? Now, why does this actually matter? Why do we care? I mean, firstly, I just can't think of a better way to do business. I feel like this is the only way, is to lead with soul. But it's just, for me, it's a way of living. It's a way of being. It's about being your most authentic self. It's by following your intuition, your passion, what lights you up, your gifts. It's about alignment. It's about truth. And so that's going to feel amazing. It's going to feel amazing. And I really believe that this is the only way forward. It's the only way in business, really. But what are, some of the other really magical things that can happen, and not necessarily just magical. I call them magical, but real tangible things that can happen is that you get to work with the most incredible clients because your soul essence is magnetic. You won't be for everyone, and that's absolutely okay. That's a part of it, but you will be for some people, and those people will absolutely love you, your services, your offerings, and you'll get to work with the most incredible aligned clients. Because when you're leading with soul, when you're being your most authentic self, people can see that and feel that and know that your medicine, your gifts are for them. I think one of the other beautiful benefits of this is like the self-growth. And God, that sounds so I'm obsessed with this and I love this, but I think sometimes it's so underrated that it gets a bad rap maybe, or I don't know, we don't prioritize it enough for whatever reason. But I think for you to grow as a soul, for you to grow as a human, for you to do so much of the inner work that's required to have this beautiful business, to serve, to have this impact, at all levels, at all stages. Like that's so wonderful and so rich and so invaluable. And I just think back to, like, I just certainly wouldn't be the person that I am now, the human that I am now, if I hadn't have started my own business, essentially. Like, coaching absolutely is a huge part of that, but also the business journey is business is a personal development journey in and of itself. This is essentially what I'm talking about today, but it so is, and so much of it is about who you become in that process. And that is the stuff that is so enriching, that is so rewarding, is one of the things that just will give back time and time and time and time again. And it truly is the gift that keeps on giving, for sure. And I think the other thing is just that is like creating your own success on your terms, is getting to do the work that you love with the people that you love and the way that you love doing it, having a beautiful business of flexibility and freedom, of authentic truth and self-expression. Like the list keeps going on. There's so many wonderful things, but ultimately I really believe that this is the key to success, and the key to sustainable success, I should say. This is about sustainable business. And I mean, certainly for me, I'm in this for the long haul. This is not a one and done thing. So that is so crucial. That is so important. I would love to hear how this is landing for you guys. If you want to send me a DM on Instagram, would love that, or flick me an email. Honestly, best conversations happen after the podcast, and I'm just really curious about what's landing for people and what you're loving, etc. So do let me know. Now, I wanted to share, as I've been alluding to, some reflective questions for you, some journal prompts, something to go away and ponder and consider for yourself. Now, these are your beautiful questions today. I first want you to check in with what's sitting well with you, what's ruffled a few feathers, or what's been like a yes, or like I needed to be reminded of that today, Evie. Or maybe for some of you that's felt a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit triggering, or it's hit something. What is that for you? What is that? Would love for you to consider that first and foremost. And the second question is, where in your business are you leading from soul? And where might you be outsourcing your power to someone else's formula, or someone else's key to success, or insights, whatever, advice? So where are you leading in your business from soul, and where are you outsourcing your power? Where are you outsourcing the answers and just trusting your inner knowing and your inner wisdom? I'd love for you to take some time to consider that one. I think it's a powerful one, a confronting one, of course, but always the best journal prompts are those that are, encourage the truth bombs to come out. So check in with those. Would love for you to spend some time pondering them. If you're driving in your car, maybe you just hit pause on the recording now, on the podcast rather, and just really consider that and check in with your body. Or if you're on a walk, maybe do the same. And if you've got paper and pen, even better, jot it down, write it out, or pop it in your journal for a later date to come back to these journal prompts and questions, because I think there's such value in doing so. Alrighty, my loves. I think that's it. I just want to remind you of that beautiful quote that I shared at the start, because I think that this is important and such a key thing to creating a soul-led business. And this is the quote: "Your soul already knows the way. It's your job to trust it." Your soul already knows the way. It's your job to trust it. All right, my beautiful friends, I will see you next time on the podcast. Please share this with your loved ones, your friends, on your Instagram stories if it's landed, if it's resonated, and you think you could share this with your beautiful whānau and your community. That would mean the world to me. All right, until next time, lovelies. Bye-bye.